Hi, it's Nell. Good morning. And today I have some things to show you. The things that I'm going to show you are 7 hanging succulents to love. So if you love videos about gardening, indoor gardening, succulents, houseplants, bromeliads, all that good stuff, all that horticultural goodness, then be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every week and there are plenty in the archives for you. And first off, it is about 5:45 in the morning, so my throat is still a little froggy from all the pollen and stuff when you first wake up, but it is so hot these days here in Tucson, and also to the cicadas. If you watched my arrowhead plant video, the cicadas were in the background. They are so loud that I have to get up earlier and film before they start. So when I talk about succulents, or when most people talk about succulents, they mean the fleshy succulents, and as opposed to cacti, because cacti are also succulents, but they usually get called cacti. So these are, as we call them, the fleshies. And these are ones that I have grown. I've grown some of them indoors, most of them outdoors. I've grown them in Santa Barbara, which is much more of an ideal climate than here in Tucson. For instance, today it's going to be 105. The fleshies don't like it as much, but they do okay. You just have to have them in the shade. And then I'm also going to be talking about 2 plants that do trail over time. They hang beautifully, but they're not really billed as hanging plants. So stick around to the end to find out what those 2 are. And I thought this would be a good video to do because I've grown all these succulents for a while now, so I have experience with them. And in case you want a hanging plant, because sometimes you just want something to hang off a bookcase or a mantle, or in the house you can have it hanging. I've got a few hanging plants in my house that are actually hanging from the ceiling. How many hanging plants do I have out here? I have 3 outside too, so it's just a different look and it's a fun look. So I just wanted to share this with you. Many succulents get leggy over time and they will start to trail or creep out of the pots or whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about here. Those are not trailing succulents. These are ones that actually hang. They're in a nice hanging form. They stay dense, they look good. Whereas the other ones really do need to be propagated. They need to be pruned every few years, propagated, and then put back in the pot or the garden bed or the raised bed or wherever they are. And I've done a video and a post about that, which I will leave probably in the blog post. I usually forget to put them down below because I do a blog post with every video. And speaking of blog posts, head to the blog post for information on these plants. I'm just going to be showing them to you here. Otherwise, this video is going to be really long. So I've done posts on probably half of these, succulents, or maybe more than half. So there will be links in the blog post for you, and the link to that blog post will be down below. And here is the ever popular string of pearls. Mine is sort of meh here. It's not all that robust. It's the heat and the sun, of course. Doesn't get a lot of sun. It's the heat. In Santa Barbara, my string of pearls was at least 6 feet long. I had a bunch of them actually. Here it's probably only about maybe 18 inches. But the pearls aren't too dry and shriveled up, but just doesn't grow a whole heck of a lot. as compared to its planting companion, string of bananas, which is doing really, really well. I pruned it not too long ago and it's filling in, and there's a lot of new growth at the top. It doesn't seem to mind the heat too much at all. Here's a view of it so you can see just how densely it grows, even though I thinned it out. And here is the Burro's tail sedum. It's not looking too good right now. You can see the leaves are really thin and sort of dried up. Looks much better in spring, fall, and winter. It really doesn't like the heat like most of these hanging succulents you see. I brought them as cuttings from my garden in Santa Barbara. But it grows underneath my beautiful big ponytail palm. And this one, when it's growing in a more optimum climate like San Diego, Santa Barbara, it is, and points in between, it is much fuller, much thicker, much more robust. Ooh, it's swinging back and forth because I just brushed it, but this is my string of fish hooks, or this one is a grayish, bluish gray, so it's called gray fish hooks. And I really pruned it because it was looking really thin. It used to be down to the ground, and I pruned it to just above the love seat. So it's got some nice new growth coming at the top, but it has thinned quite a bit. And this is Ruby Necklace. I think it also goes by red-stemmed pickle plant or pickle vine, but it's just beautiful. I don't think I'm actually going to hang this one. I might just leave it on the table and just let it trail off of here. But it has those beautiful red purple stems, and it flowered this spring with sweet little yellow flowers. And I need to put it into a pot. I think I'm going to do this in a clay pot. I think it would look really pretty. There we go. Leaves a little bit similar to this string of bananas, but a little bit fatter. More like pickles. And you might recognize this pot because it made a showing in the last video. This is where the spider plant was. And I have planted a variegated elephant's food, which is doing really, really well. It's grown. It can take the couple hours of morning sun here. It's mainly from like 11, no, it's mainly from like 8 to 10:30, but it's just so strong. And it's a little bit paler now. When the weather cools, it gets tinged with pink. You know, the leaves do, but it's trailing beautifully because I just planted this in April. It was a heck of a lot smaller, and it is now early July. It is a few hours later, and in downloading the clips, I forgot to mention that there is a solid green form of this plant, just in case variegation is not your thing. And you'll see a picture of that coming up right after this. And there's the seventh one, which I don't have a video clip of. I grew it in my garden in Santa Barbara. I can probably dig up a picture of it. It grew in almost all shade, and that is the hanging jade. Now, the hanging jade is not a crassula like the jade plant is. It is a senecio, but it's still called hanging jade. So if I can't find a picture of it in my garden, I will leave a link to it on some growers' website so you can see the plant to at least get an idea of it. And that is one I grew only outdoors. I have never grown that one indoors, but it is a good trailing option, especially because it's called hanging jade. And here is the first of two plants that I'm going to show you that's not really sold as a hanging plant, but they trail beautifully over time. And this is Dancing Bones. I think it also goes by skeleton plant, dead man's skeleton, a whole bunch of names, but it is a lovely little epiphytic cactus. As the next one you'll see is an epiphytic cactus, which means it grows more in the subtropical, tropical areas than in the desert, and it grows on other plants and not in the soil. But this little beauty actually grows in my house, and you might remember this pot and this plant from almost 2 years ago, because I did a video and a post about planting succulents in pots with no drain holes, and it is still in this pot. I'm going to be transplanting it soon because I want it to grow bigger, and I just think it looks really sweet in this pot, but it's time for a new base for this plant in the not too distant future. And the other one that trails over time is the Christmas cactus. Now this is technically a Thanksgiving cactus, but they also get called holiday cactus. But this one grows indoors for me now. I have moved it inside with the heat, and I will keep it in there. This part in the back, this taller part, probably 2/3 of it got eaten by the pack rats, and it was starting to trail. And I guess that's why they got it, because they could easily get the trailing part. And over here it is going to start to trail a bit, but we had a very mature specimen in our greenhouse growing up back in Connecticut, and it probably trailed by about 2 to 3 feet. It was gorgeous. So this one will over time. Riley Cat is out with me this morning, and he gets all excited because the birds are very active in the morning. So he just had a meeting with a hummingbird. Both of them survived. They're both fine. They just were almost nose to nose. It was so cute. Okay, so the ones that I have grown inside and I've had luck with are the string of bananas, the string of fish hooks, the Christmas cactus, the hatiora, and I grew a solid green elephant's food indoors. So those are the ones that I have experience with and that have done well. Now, I grew a string of pearls indoors also, but it did okay. I wouldn't say it was fabulous and wonderful and beautiful, but it did okay. So the other ones, especially the string of bananas and the elephant's food, I know do really well indoors if you have high light. It has to be nice, bright, good, strong light for them to do well. More in the blog post on that. And I just want to show you this pretty plant. It's my adenium or desert rose. I moved it over here on the side patio. It's very happy. It's been flowering a lot. It sits right on the other side of my sliding patio door so I can see it from the living room, the entryway, and it is just a little beauty. So I hope you have found this to be helpful, especially if you're looking for hanging succulent options. The 7 are bona fide trailing hanging plants. The other 2 that I have grown will trail over time, so those are options for you. I have a lot more videos coming your way, so be sure to come back to check those out. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I appreciate them. Now let's get out in our gardens or into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.